good evening. Welcome to Westerly High School's Salvatore J. Augeri Field for today's girls varsity soccer contest being played between the Burrillville Broncos and our Westerly High School Lady Bulldogs. Number 5, Madeline Keegan. Number 9, Jolie Forrest. Number 10, Cammie Weekly. Number 12, Emma Withington. Number 13, Mackenzie Kennelly. Number 19, Sydney Yankee. Number 20, Marissa Panucci. And number 23, Samantha Murphy. And for the Bulldogs, coached by Jay Hudson, Hillary Toronto, and Ivo Diaz. Captain number 6, Nina Salino. Captain number 19, Maddie Fobert. Captain number 3, Jillian Octo. In goal tonight, Alex Nelson. Number 2. Number 1, Sam Sacco. Number 13, Cassidy Cisco. Number 22, Sydney Hake. Number 21, Nora Zerberini. Number 11, Eva Entreri. And number 7, Kate Rafferty. Please stand and turn your attention to the flag near the scoreboard for the national anthem. Thank you and good luck.
Welcome everybody, one and all, the site Salvatore Augeri Field for tonight's Lady Bulldogs varsity soccer matchup. Coming to town tonight, the Burrillville Broncos, who have secured themselves their division title with a 15-0 record in Division 3 here in Rhode Island. So Burrillville comes to town having had a perfect season, and this is the last game of the season for them. Their overall record is 15-2, 2 losses, however, non-league. Playoff implications abound all over the place. I will have for you throughout the night. Obviously, there are several scenarios here. Westerly still is fighting for a home playoff berth in the first round of the playoffs. They need to win both games, and they control their own fate with that. However, they do have teams that are not far behind, nipping at their heels, and I tried to go through a little bit of their records and their games yet to play. So that being said, the teams are huddled up here tonight. It's your Lady Bulldogs come to town with a 10-4 record versus the Burrillville Broncos with a 15-0 record. Burrillville, again, I don't want to ever say you're never playing for nothing. They're playing for an undefeated division record, but everything is sewed up for them. Win or lose, they are going to have a free ride at home through the playoffs if they keep on winning. So, that being said, the division's sewn up. Home games in the first 2 rounds are sewn up. Obviously, the third round would be the state championship, which is at a neutral site, being Rhode Island College this year for Rhode Island soccer, Rhode Island ladies soccer. So the Broncos are at midfield. The Bulldogs still getting instructions from the coach. Like I said, a lot on the line. A home game, they're not secured 100% with a playoff berth. If they were to lose the final 2 and a couple other games go the wrong way, they could end their season. So they're playing, in essence, also for their lives. A lot of reasons to play today. The weather, however, is not agreeing with us. So we're fortunate that the storm stopped. But they are down on a windy field. Let it be known that these girls are definitely not playing under comfortable conditions. It is freezing out for them. This is the coldest day out on that playing field, I'd say, for anybody this year, for any of the sports. And the wind is blowing. It's calmed down enough that we can actually play. Earlier, it was too strong to utilize those light towers even, or possibly get a signal. So, Wesley's on the field. Wesley's going to start with possession. That at center field is Kaylee Lamb for the Bulldogs, the junior. And here we go. We're off. Correction, that was the Burrillville. And Burrillville is back in their own end, pushing it forward. That was number 5 in the middle, and that would have been Madeline Keegan. And now moving forward, trying to get it over the top. And on defense for the Bulldogs is Hake, who is generally, you're going to hear her name a lot. And there she is again to intercept the pass, deflect it. That's Rafferty up the sidelines. Correction, that's Jillian Octo, the senior captain, on our near side. And you will hear her name very often. And it gets past Hake to the back line. That's Salino, and then deeper. So the Bulldogs trying to clear it out of their own end. That's Intreri and Octo, who is deadly up this sideline. On the second sideline, she'll be in the far corner. And Zabarini with the steal. Down goes a Burrillville player who stays down. I might have to open this window a bit so I can hear if there's a whistle. And there was a whistle. I did not hear it, so that's what I'm going to do. A little too much contact on that. And unfortunately, a Bronco is down at the moment. So now I will go with our introductions. I am the voice, Greg Morano, alongside producer, owner Shane Belanger. Upstairs, we have Lisa behind the lens. Together, we are Westerly.live, all of your Westerly sports live. When you can't be here, we are here for you. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or Westerly.live on your web browser. 6 o'clock start tonight, which means an early finish as opposed to the 7 o'clock starts with the boys football and soccer team. So that leaves you plenty of time to head over to CC O'Brien's Sports Cafe at around 8. They're open Tuesday through Sunday. Check out ccobrians.com for hours. They got 22 TVs, NFL all weekend, all sports all the time, great food, delivery, curbside pickup, or on-site eating. That's CC O'Brien's Sports Cafe, located in Pawcatuck, Connecticut. Game is still at a pause. Teams are huddled up. Unfortunately, the injured player that's going to be Carmi Weekly, senior defenseman for the Broncos. And they are working on her, looking at her knee on the field. You never want to see any injuries, especially just moments into the game. We're not even a minute and 5 seconds in is what we are. So in the meantime, it's getting towards the holiday season as October is coming to a close and Halloween is coming. And then we know the holidays are soon to follow. You want good service to go along with your shopping. See Remy Segel's and Teddy's Toys, 53 Railroad Avenue, Westerly, bicycle sales and service. Right downtown. Cycling accessories, clothing, safety gear, the latest in e-bike technology, best customer service you're going to get is local service. Everything needed to enjoy your cycling adventures, and there are mountain bike paths all over Westerly and Bradford, all the way up through Burlington State Park, everywhere. We are going to head off to the break as the game is still at a hold. We are back, folks, and they are, looks like, starting to get ready to assist the injured Bronco up and off, completely not able to get off under her own power. The players and crowd is giving her a round of applause. So not a good start for anybody when that occurs only a minute into the contest. Bulldogs are in a circle, kicking the ball around, no doubt, trying to stay warm. Ground level has got to be very cold, extremely windy. The Rhode Island Interscholastic League Volleyball Championship playoffs have been, dates and location obviously cannot be devised just yet, but dates have been released. The quarterfinals will be November 6th through November 8th, and that's where number 1 seed will play number 4 seed, and number 2 seed will play number 3 seed. Number 1 seed is the only seed that is locked in, and they are on the field in front of us, folks. We just haven't really been able to get into a flow yet of this game. At Westerly, playing for that number 2 seed, it's under their own power. If they win both games, they will slide up. The rest cannot be figured out yet. The semifinal rounds are going to occur the 10th and the 11th, and it looks like we are going to get started again soon. The officials and coaching staff and trainers still working with the injured Bronco. Wasn't even able to get far off the field. It looks like they're going to try to get started again with her on the track. All right, here we go. We have signal and we have a whistle that I can now hear because I opened the window a little bit, and we're ready to go. And that says how cold it is outside. I only have my window cracked, and these girls are out in it. So I want to see how much it affects the ball. Longer shots and passes. Number 7, Rafferty, throws it in. Gets to the back line of the defense of the Broncos. Popped up, and it's Rafferty again. And she throws in. And it's going to be down into the corner. And that is Interi trying to run it down for the Bulldogs. Unable to get there quite on time, and the Broncos will throw. So on the near side, you have Captain Octo, who is all over the place. Great handling skills, great defensively, a huge threat offensively. One of their biggest. You have Zeberini right there on defense. You hear her name a lot. She's a freshman. Extremely accelerated skill-wise for her age. Stellar defensively, stellar as far as body positioning, good speed, and we've seen her shoot well to top it all off. So throwing in, Rafferty, way to use her body. That's number 1, Sam Sacco, gets it back to the far corner. Number 19, Captain Maddie Fobert over there. Haven't been over there much this game thus far. And that is Selena, the captain. Nina for the Bulldogs kicks it out of bounds to let her team catch up on defense. Throw in by the Broncos. Possession made, and they kick it back to set up the offense. Put back forward, middle of the field, gets past their offensive player, and the Bulldogs pop it up towards midfield. And we're chipping it around, and that gets off of Intreri's body and up ahead off of Zabrini's foot. Back line of defense for the Broncos is there. And they seem poised to not let something get over their head at midfield, battling for it. Number 2, Gia Keegan, the junior. Again, I've said it at every game we play. We have a really good team here, and we have a great returning set, too. Over the top, the Broncos' defense is back. The back line is there. And back to the goalie, they go with it. Far side, battling for it. Bulldogs are going to get it in the middle. And that's Zerberini off of her body a little bit too far, and they are able to clear it out of bounds. Broncos will throw in. We are Westerly Live back here tomorrow. The Bulldogs will throw in and do. We are Westerly.live. We'll be back here tomorrow with the Bulldogs' final game of the season. Again, there will be implications. They vary depending on the version of the final tonight. Salino battles on the far side, and 2 other Bulldogs race back behind her. And the Broncos attacking towards the middle, and that's going to be Hake. And it gets back to Nelson. The goalie scoops it up. Her first action here. So the Bulldogs playing good defense thus far. Gets a little bit past Fulbert, and they're on the move quickly. Crossing past a little too far up, and Nelson comes out and scoops it. 2 Bulldogs in the area. You had Hake there in case anything got through, in addition to Rafferty. And on the near side, the Broncos are going to throw in from near midfield. So to Martin Narragansett comes to town to close out the regular season for the Bulldogs. Narragansett holds a 6-3-2 record. So not far behind. They're listed as in 6th place. Only 3 losses on the field. Wesley has 4. They have 2 ties. So all of that gets wrapped up after the game tomorrow. All that gets figured out. Bulldogs on the far side. That's going to be Fulbert. That's going to be number 13 for the Bulldogs. Cisco, the sophomore, and on the far side. Out of bounds it goes, and that's going to be Burrillville ball. And she's going to throw it in, or it's going to come off the floor and off her foot. They're a decent distance away. It's not going to be a threat on the goal per se, but it can be a dangerous pass. And let's see, chipped up. And that's going to be off of the Bulldog foot to start. And Intreri had position, gets it stolen. Fulbert in the area and clears it up towards the middle off the head of a Bronco. Bulldogs able to turn it around, but that last line of defense for the Broncos, those 3 are standing steady and waiting for anything over the top, and they will now run this down as the Bulldogs try to get over the top. Nothing close on this side yet for the Bulldogs, and that went off the side of the Burrillville Broncos' foot and out of bounds. So an opportunity for the Bulldogs. Number 7, Rafferty, is going to throw in, and she does towards the middle of the field over Zerberini, and that's going to be Keegan had a shot at it. A Bronco stepped in, out of bounds it goes. Rafferty's going to throw in. They're inching their way down the field here. This is a dangerous throw-in if you're a Bronco. Bulldogs fully capable, 3 in the area, and they throw it in off of a Bronco head, and it's going to come off of her foot this time. Rafferty, her fur, tries to get it to the middle. A Bronco steps in. Now it's a race for the ball, and they are able to clear it for the moment. The Bulldogs will soon have possession. And back up to the corner, and the Burrillville goalie will come out and scoop it up. So not too much action yet, folks. Neither team able to make the connection that we make always at Wireless Zone at Dunn's Corners, your authorized Verizon dealer, up to $440 on your new phone, off your new phone, with trade-in of old phone. All the latest phones, including the iPhone 13. They also have a repair zone, crack screen, new battery. They have you covered. Located next to Duncan at Dunn's Corners. Wireless Zone at Dunn's Corners. And the Bulldogs throwing in Rafferty again from this side. I sound like a broken record saying that. It seems to be where they're getting it, and it's going to go directly off the head of a Bronco and back out of bounds. So the Bulldogs to throw in again. This is Westerly Ladies Varsity action, folks. Playoff implications on the line in 10-4 against undefeated Burrillville. And making a move up front is number 1, Sacco. Finally loses it, but Zerberini's got it. And then Octo tries to center it, a little too much on it. It gets past the Bronco, though, a mistake. And that's going to be Cisco with it. Centering pass, corner kick type situation. off of a Bronco, gets another chance at it, centers it, and that's going to be Keegan with it, who splits the defenders, does a good job. And that's going to get back to the corner and out of bounds. And that should be a corner kick for the Bulldogs. I'm losing the official. And it will be a throw-in for the Bulldogs. Rather, that's what it should have been, correction. Off of Zerbini's body, back to the throw-in. Good defense by Zerbini, trying to poke it out. Sacco battling for it in the corner. And it gets popped up down the far sideline. And that should be out of bounds off. Let's see what the official, that's either Fulbert. And it's going to be off of Fulbert, yes, and throw in quickly from the far sideline by the Broncos. Salino steps in for the steal, and out of bounds it gets ruled off of Salino. And the throw in. This game has been, thus far, we're about 10 minutes in without too many shots, or any really. And Octo with possession, battling for it, and does a good job. It's going to be ruled in favor of the Broncos again. In the back, Hake now with it, turns, and in steps a Bronco. Zerberini steps in, changes field position for the Bulldogs group, and it's a good thing. Pressure was starting to mount a little bit. Pace is being set by the Broncos right now. Although there are no goals and very little shots on goal, it almost feels like one's due for the Broncos. Hake with it, and the Bronco comes flying through, out of bounds. Bulldogs will take it. Rafferty will throw in, and she is going to throw out of their own third off of the Broncos' head and back to Rafferty. Up the sidelines, and can Sacco run it down? It's going to go out of bounds. She will not be the throw-in. It will be Burrillville's ball. So cold down there on the field for these players. Makes the muscles a little bit tighter, makes everything hurt a little bit more. Any little pinch or kick. And Salino turns, pops it up in the other direction. And this is a chance. Octo with the steal to herself. So far the best opportunity she's had. And the Burrillville defense steps in, out of bounds it goes. Rafferty will throw in again for the Bulldogs. So now the Bulldogs threatening. A chance to put it home. Speaking of homes, if you're looking, Mark Wright, your realtor, Coldwell Banker, Coastal Homes, your satisfaction is Mark's first concern. All of your housing needs, buying or selling, market analysis, consider Mark. You will be his first concern. Mark Wright, Coldwell Banker, Coastal Homes. And now a corner kick for the Bulldogs. It's up. A beauty off the side, off of the goalpost it goes. A little high, a little left. So not a threat to the Burrillville Bronco goalie. Missed opportunity for the Bulldogs, but it is very early. 0-0 score. We have Sallow Jerry Field, 28:30 left to go. And to the corner it goes, and Burrillville moving it on the ground a little bit. Bulldogs trying to step in. Keegan for initially. Now Sacco gets it. Back to Keegan, who has possession, puts it up ahead. And it crosses the goalie. Out of bounds it goes, and Burrillville will take it out of net with possession. So, Westerly Live, we are here, and we will be with you for the next 3 nights. Tomorrow night, right here at Sallow Jerry Field, as Westerly will step on the field again. The results today change the implications tomorrow, but there are implications in both. I could explain every option, but we would miss everything on the field. And the throw-in by Rafferty. Sacco wanted to turn, would have had a shot on goal, but there were 2 defenders. One stepped in and battling for possession of the Bulldogs and the Broncos. On the Bulldogs' end right now. Side step, out of bounds it goes. It'll be Rafferty throwing in for the Bulldogs. Over she comes. And the Bulldogs are on the Broncos' end. So the Bulldogs with the I guess momentum, you could say, if there's any really right now. No score and really no big shots on goal. Both teams have had rather passive attempts. That's Fulbert off of a Bronco. And that's the little things hurt a little bit more if you could see her reaction. It went off the side of her head. And the Bronco is still rubbing her head. And he gets out in front of Octo. And the side, it was a pass and a shot. It was a great idea by Octo. The two Bulldogs that were coming down just couldn't get there on time. Bronco goalie able to dive and smother it, but if either of those Bulldogs come across and are able to get any contact with it, it would have misdirected it, and the dive for the goalie would have been in the wrong direction. Goal for the Bulldogs didn't happen. Great scenario, great idea. Meanwhile, on the defensive end, Hake puts it off of the Bronco and will take possession for the Bulldogs. Salino, the captain, will throw in. Senior defenseman for the Bulldogs. And throw in down the far sideline off the Broncos' head. Broncos using their head quite often here in the first half. And I mean that literally, not figurative. From the far side, the throw in, Salino, and it gets to our side. Sacco had it initially, and now down the far sideline. And running it down for the Bulldogs, Cisco. Out of bounds it goes. And did it go out the back line? Will it be a corner kick? I couldn't quite tell on the first swing. Waiting for a corner kick, I believe we are, folks. So here we go, Bulldogs. And who is it with the kick? There we go. On Beauty. Gets in the middle and shot attempt by Octav, gets deflected, and a rebound attempt by, I believe it was Hake. Great attempt on the low left. Great aim. Broncos with it now, crossing midfield. Salino steps up over the top of everybody. Good idea. Goalie able to come out and pick it up. So a couple good corner kicks and passes. Bulldogs just a couple steps behind. Octo with a beauty. It was actually a dual roll pass and shot. Could have gone either way. Bulldogs were unable to capitalize. And then Hake almost on the rebound from a distance. But those are the Bulldogs' best two opportunities. And we just saw them. And now the Broncos have it on their side. Bulldogs still pressing. That's Zerberini, but the Broncos able to clear over the top for the moment. But the Salino with it, able to turn around. Hake up the side, and a little bit too late for Octo. It's out of bounds on the Bulldogs, so the Broncos will throw in. And the throw in to the Bulldogs defensive line, and up the field we go. So Rafferty more than likely will throw in. Nope, correction, Burrillville's going to throw in. And out of bounds it goes. Bulldogs take it, and now Rafferty will throw in. Quickly they go. And they try to get Sacco over the top. And able to step in as the Broncos defense to the far side midfield. So a little bit of a slow start to this one, folks. We are 16 and a half minutes in. Very few shots on goal. Pretty evenly played in the middle of the field. We're playing between the 20s. And the Broncos moving the pace a little bit here, but Octo steps in with the steal, puts it up ahead of Intrari. Out of bounds, and the Bulldogs will throw in on the Broncos side. Rafferty gathers the ball. We are Westerly live here, folks. And the inbound steps in, Broncos. They try to clear it, but that's Hake who steps in and puts it in the air. And Terry deflects it. This is Keegan with it, but in steps a Bronco. And they get it on the far side, and they're going to turn around field position here. So the defense on the far side, and Salino steps in and turns it around. Fulbert now. We are at midfield. And with the steal, Sacco to the corner, hoping that somehow Octo would have been in the area, but she was not. She was rather further down the field, in fact. So the Broncos throw in. As I said earlier, we are Westerly.live, we are a product of Nomad Web Solutions from the mind of Shane Belanger, cutting edge website design and development, live streams, weddings, memorials, fundraisers. That is nomadweb.solutions. Throwing in is the Broncos on our side of the field. So this is the finale of the season for the Broncos. This caps their regular season. In the division, they are 15-3. 15-0, undefeated. Overall, on the season, they are 15-2. They're 2 losses non-league. So their motivation tonight is undefeated division season, league season. Beyond that, they definitely don't want an injury of any sort this game, and they already, right out of the gates, lost number 10, who had to be assisted off the field, and that's Carney Weekly, the senior, and now, to top it all off, going into her playoff stretch as a senior. So we hope everything works out for her, and that's what the Broncos didn't want out of this game. That's the number one thing they wanted to come out of Westerly uninjured, because if they came out 15-1-2 on the year, who really cares? They still have their home games, first 2 rounds of the playoffs. Everything is shown up for them. So now their goal is, obviously, they want to get through the next, there's still 60 minutes to go of their regular season. They want to do it with no further injury. Westerly, on the other hand, clearly no injury is your first goal in every game, in every scenario, and that is the Bulldogs' goal as well. However, they are playing for all sorts of things. They're playing to play for the right to play 3 games in a row right here at Salvador Jerry Field. Tonight, tomorrow versus Narragansett, and then somewhere within the 6th versus the 8th, the first round of the state playoffs. They would love to host a game, and they can go in the number 2 seed. There are ways. I'm not going to tell you them now because what happens here tonight matters. I'll talk about them tomorrow. They played Narragansett 6-3-2. Narragansett has 2 games after the Bulldogs. So the only way that the Bulldogs finale is, the Bulldogs solution is set in stone, is if they win both of these games or lose both of these games. So a split, they have to wait for Narragansett. That being said, we didn't miss much action. I'm watching it, folks, so don't worry. I got my eye on the game, as do you. And they're pressuring, but we do have a lot of players in front of the goal defensively. Burrillville's had it in our end, and they do right now. Centering, they got to move here, but the Bulldogs, like I said, there's 3 people in their lanes at all times. And Bulldogs need to step up a little bit and put a little offensive pressure on. A tie helps the Bulldogs more than a loss, clearly. Needless to say, that would always be the case in any game ever. I guess I could have gone without that insight. And I'm just trying to provide you the best entertainment here, as we are a little bit slow up front here. And the ball's on the ground. It looks like it's going to go in the direction of the Broncos. Now the ball's no longer on the ground. We're going to throw in. And I'm done guessing. We're live. Here we go. Burrillville's ball. Moving up the far side. And the captain, Fobert, steps in and puts it in Bulldog territory. Bulldogs' front line has few opportunities with it tonight. It's been all at the mid-level and the defensive level, and the defense for the Bulldogs has played great. No real threats due to their play. A young defense, well, I say that Forbert and Celino are 2 seniors, 2 captains, and 2 great defenders for the Bulldogs. But in addition, Zerberini, who is midfield or defense, or you could put her on offense, and Hake are just all-around great players in their junior, their sophomore and freshman. So you can say that Rafferty falls into that category. As always, on the field players that return for the Bulldogs. Keegan, a junior, falls in that category. There are several. So the Bulldogs with an opportunity back on the field here. Octo, senior, puts it up. The captain, a beauty off of Bulldog. Rafferty runs it down, keeps it in play. Centering on the ground, tries to, and possession. Octo again, in steps the Bronco. And Hake towards the middle. Wade looking for a Bulldog to step somewhere across his passing lanes. And that was a beautiful pass by Haig, really. As far as I know, she gave plenty of opportunity for a Bulldog to come across that. That's exactly what I believe her mentality was. That's the second time she's done that, and there just is really no one there. And throwing in is Rafferty. Long, she throws, and off of Zerberini originally. Now back into possession of Fulbert, off of a Bronco, and that's up all the way ahead of the Bronco goalie. Takes possession. A little too much on it. The offense unable to get there. So the Bulldogs offense just out of sync here all night long thus far. Fortunately, the 6 players from midfield and beyond are doing a stellar job. As is Nelson, as she's been asked to do a little thus far. Up ahead, and Sacco trying to run it down the junior. Again, will return. Huge offensive player for the Bulldogs. And that's the far side. Cisco on the defense, out of bounds it goes. That's Bulldogs going to be with possession as it gets run down by Keegan, a junior. Normally there are players and stuff to run these down for our players. Not tonight. And the inbound right back to her. And a hard hit ball off of the Broncos and out of bounds again. And now throwing in for the Bulldogs will be Keegan. And a little one hopper. And that's going to be Zerberini, who was way up, ready to attempt to shoot if she gets the opportunity, and she's still there. Little chip pass to her. She turns and gives it right back and leaves her with it. And down she goes, unfortunately, in the corner. Call's going to go against the Broncos. I can judge by their reaction on the field. And yes, it was definitely on the Broncos. It was a trip. So that's going to give the Bulldogs their best opportunity today. I'm going to say here. Let's see what they do with it is the question. And let's see where it's placed. Everybody getting set up. These are always very entertaining. So much can happen, so many rebounds, so fast. We are Westerly.live, and we can bring it to you twice if necessary. Let's see what happens. Hopefully we can spark this night up here at Salwa Jerry Field. There's a lot on the line for this Lady Bulldog team. You want to kind of catch this Bronco team with not much to play for. Beautiful. Oh, the goalie steps right up. Nobody crosses on the inside post. Didn't give much room for the team to do much with that. Missed opportunity for the Bulldogs. I do believe, judging by the speed of that wasn't a shot. That was a pass. And a little too high. Too much loft on it. In steps Zerberini for the Bulldogs with the steal, trying to put it up ahead of Sacco. The Broncos are there. Zerberini with it again. It's always good for the Bulldogs when that is said. Sacco fighting for possession. Coming to the near side. And Rafferty puts a foot on it and takes it. And she chips it over the far side. A beautiful, it was just a great sight to see where Sacco was. Almost a perfect pass. First physicality we've really seen between either team, and it wasn't much. A little bump here or there. Hasn't been a physical night. I think that's got to be due to the weather. And as I say that, we get shoved and no call. And they extended their arms on that one. Nelson's way out of goal, so she had to get a foot on it and saves herself by doing so. And the Bulldogs will clear at what could have instantly become a real problem for the Bulldogs. They escape that. The Broncos trying to threaten. When it gets on this side, the Bulldogs just take over, which unfortunately doesn't leave anyone on the backside. Sacco waiting occasionally, but the Burrillville defense also is back there. So Burrillville on the far side, Maddie Fulbert turns around, out of bounds it goes, and the Broncos will throw in down on Westerly's end of the field on the far side. Waiting for the throw-in. We got a shoot tying situation for the Bulldogs. And we're about to get started here. Both teams playing great defense, obviously, by the scoreboard. I'm giving you guys a lot of really crazy facts so far in this game. 0-0 score, and there's a lot of defense. There's no question about that. Out of bounds it goes. So the Broncos trying to change that, throwing it in Bulldog territory, but the Bulldogs not allowing any real estate once they press. Nelson had not had to work all that hard, or really that hard at all, because the Bulldogs defense steps right up. And when we talk about real estate, we talk about Mark Wright, realtor, Coldwell Banker, Coastal Homes. Your satisfaction is Mark's first concern. For all of your housing needs, buying, selling, market analysis, whatever it may be. That's Mark Wright, realtor, Coldwell Banker, Coastal Homes. And the Bulldogs trying to move down the field, but the Broncos able to steal, and the threat right there. But Hake puts the foot in. If he gets behind them, there's trouble, but it generally doesn't, and it hasn't all night tonight. I don't even know who I would give the time of possession advantage to. It's been right in front of us all game long. Midfield, been between the 20s, I guess you can give them. Neither team with much threat between the posts. Goalies have to stay warm, and that's a true saying and legit, realistic saying. They have to stay warm. If they get too cold down there, then they are not nearly as mobile when the threat comes. This is soccer, and this is two really good teams that can strike at a moment's notice. Right now, I would give the advantage of Burrillville as far as who has more threats to strike, but Westerly just on the spot to defuse them. And Burrillville, again, trying to set up an attack. They do have two players. Westerly's got three. Up ahead, beautiful over-the-shoulder pass, but guess who? Hake on the scene for the steal. It's almost an automatic. When she comes across, she's going to get it, and another steal. That's two Broncos that have tried to deal with her and have had no part of it. Out of bounds it goes. Broncos will throw in, but that threat was diffused, and the field was moved a little bit. Throw in by the Broncos over the first set, and here's a little bit of a chance. Well played by Salino. Good physical play. The Broncos threatening. But number 13 for the Bulldogs, Isco, turning on it, and out of bounds it goes, and the threat maintains on the Bulldogs' end. Thus far, nothing at the goal, but if you hang around too much, you know what I mean, something's gonna give. Zerberini turning around and changing the field position as it rolls up and out of bounds all the way down around the 35. I know they really don't use yard markers like that in soccer, but I do. When they're there, they help. And Zerberini off of the Broncos out of bounds, and that's what she was looking for. Great play defensively, and that whole situation diffused and over. We've seen a lot of that, where Burrillville will have it on our side, but no shots on goal. And we've done it a few times, kept it over in their area, looking to do it here. Out of bounds, and the Bulldogs will throw in again. That's going to be, I believe Hake threw that in on the far side. Nope, that's not Hake. Regardless, Broncos turning. And that comes over to Octo. Great dribbling. Ball handling skills. Delays, comes up with it. Going to try to center it like a corner kick versus a defender live. And off of a Bronco, and out of bounds it goes. And that's going to be off of Westerly. And threat diffused. The Broncos will take it on the floor off the foot of their defense and put it back in play. We are under 10 minutes, 8 to go in this first half of play here, folks. Two nights in a row, two league matchups for this Westerly Lady Bulldog soccer team. We have a 0-0 tie versus the division champion Burrillville Broncos here. They are unbeaten in the league. They are 15-2 overall. They are playing well defensively tonight. And both teams playing evenly, and that's what we expect. A good Bulldog showing would be an even matchup with this Bronco team. So it's not like the Bulldogs are having a bad half by any means. They're having a great half. Most teams are losing by half versus this Bronco team. So you got to keep all of that in mind. They are unbeaten in the division. So at this point in a game, most teams are losing. Bulldogs are not most teams. They're a young team. They're an aggressive team, and they're a good team. So they are not unhappy at 0-0. They're happier than they would be if it was 1-0 or 2-0 Burrillville. Their threats on goal are definitely minimized here tonight, and that's credit to this unbeaten Bronco team. They put together a plan defensively versus the Bulldogs, and they have put it into play. Bulldogs still trying to turn. Up steps Rafferty, and it's in the corner. And it may get out of bounds. Rafferty steps up, but the Broncos are there. And now the Broncos on attack, and they chip it forward. And Hake is there to turn around, change direction, and way up. And Nelson will catch that in the air with no threat and falls on it. Possession to the Bulldogs. Not a real threat on goal. She's going to give her whole team a chance to get set up and puts it up and in the air. So the goalies haven't had a lot of threats tonight, and up in the corner, a nice pass by the Broncos. Spin on the Westerly side for the most amount of time, and a steal by Ake. And the chip pass to Zerberini it is, and then back off of Octo, and a whistle. That's going to go against the Bulldogs, and it'll be thrown in by the Broncos right in front here on the near side. And number 13 throwing in for the Broncos, Kennelly, senior. The Broncos are a senior leading team. And judging by that helps and goes into that 15-0 record is obviously experience. Experience playing in the cold, experience playing on the road. This is, again, a tough game. It's a decent ride on a freezing cold night with the motivation of not getting hurt, and that already struck with an injury that no injuries are good, an injury that their player is not going to return from at least tonight. So everybody hoping that the rest of the night all these players get off the field with no problem. It hasn't been a physical game, which I would expect from Burrillville, again, because of the situation. Here we go. We got some live action. Up, hooking left, and Burrillville keeps possession with it, centering it. So in the way is Celino, and clearing it is Rafferty all the way up to the other end. But it will be a throw-in by the Broncos. Bulldogs, I expected a little bit more physicality out of. I mean, they are still playing for their playoff lives. And that's off of the senior captain's head and out of bounds. Inching their way down the field, Burrillville. And that's off of Rafferty. And number 18 for the Bulldogs, Baruti, uses her body and a whistle. So that little physical play by the Broncos gets whistled. A little bit tight on the call, but we'll definitely take it. And setting it up here, the Bulldogs with a big opportunity again. It's going to be Rafferty. A few steps and it's up, chips it up. And nobody's going to gather it. And the goalie for Burrillville scoops it up with no threat again for the Bulldogs. And we are now down to about 3 minutes, only about a minute or so away from added time, in fact. And that gets to Rafferty. She uses her head. And Zerberini on defense. Up steps Keegan. And out of bounds it goes. Bulldogs have the opportunity, have everything their opportunity. They have the opportunity to play right here, 3 games in a row, tonight, tomorrow, and then somewhere 6th, 7th, or 8th in the first round of the state playoffs. That's their best case scenario. Come in as a 2 seed in the state, play the 3 seed at home in the first round. Possibly have a second round home game, depending on how that other game went. So possibly. They lose tonight, they have the possibility of going on the road as a 3 seed in the first round of the playoffs and playing the 2 seed. If they lose both, they have the possibility of the same thing or no playoff berth at all. So everything's still up in the air for the Bulldogs. And I'm sure they're going to be reminded of that at the half. Nice play defensively again by Hake. A lot of confidence she plays with nobody behind her whatsoever. Confidence in her ball handling skills, confidence in the way she positions her body, because she plays aggressively, and when you play aggressive, you can make aggressive mistakes, but any coach would rather that kind of a player. As far as I was always raised to be taught, you'd rather an aggressive mistake than a non-aggressive mistake. The thing with Hake is just puts herself in a position where she can't really make a mistake and never does. She always comes up with that steal. And knock on wood, as I am, for all those superstitious out there. Surprise to none, we are at midfield. Throwing in here, folks. We are Westerly.live at Salvador Jerry Field, live varsity girls action. You can find us, Westerly.live, that is on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or Westerly.live on your web browser. And we're moving down the field methodically here. Bulldogs will have possession on the ground. Putting them in a good position. We are in added time, so a little late threat here for the Bulldogs. And I do believe that's Celino who's going to put it in play. The captain, the senior. Up it goes. And off of the Broncos' head, back to Celino. Up a little further this time. Oh, just a little too far. Sacco questioning something with the official. And that's going to go harmlessly back into the hands of Burrillville. So we're not far from the half at all, folks. Score 0-0. And I smell a grill outside. Somebody is cooking out. I am starving and will be contacting C.C. O'Brien, certainly. I do believe I don't have an active vehicle, so I'll be calling for delivery. They're open Tuesday through Sunday, right in Pawcatuck, Connecticut. Go to ccobrien.com for hours. And trying to get over the top late is the Broncos. Able to turn on it is Hake and end that threat. As I was saying, 22 TVs, every game on the weekends, every sporting event you can imagine on TV. Pool tables, dartboards, great environment inside right in Pawcatuck, Connecticut. That is C.C. O'Brien's Sports Cafe. On the field, we are at midfield. We are out of bounds. Throwing in, added time, 0-0. And the Bulldogs need to come up with a new approach. That's the half. Nope, that's a whistle against the Bulldogs. They're not allowing any contact whatsoever, really. As stern warning being given, but no card. And it's going to go in favor of the Broncos. Whatever it was, the official was definitely unhappy with the Bulldogs, clearly for something. Any contact at all has been whistled dead this half. I've seen them play much more physical, and I'm not going to put that on the girls at all. Both teams have been whistled on it, I'd say evenly. And that whistle is going to do it for the half, folks. So we are Westerly.live, folks, and one half in the books. Unbeaten division champion Burrillville Broncos come to town. Zero goals here in the first half. Great defensive play by the Bulldogs. On the other end, Bulldogs, who are sitting in third, viable shot at second, playing for everything, go into half with a shutout. So that's great. Kudos to them. Have been shut out. The score is 0-0. They got to come up with a little bit of a different offensive strategy. They need at least a split in the next two games for a playoff berth, playing for everything the Bulldogs are. We are, again, Westerly.live, and we're going to go to break here at halftime. We will be right back. Welcome back, everybody, and we just heard a roar from the girls' soccer team from all the way across the field here. So they got a little pep in their step out of the halftime break. If you're just joining us, I am the voice, Greg Morano, alongside producer, owner Shane Belanger. We got Lisa upstairs behind the lens. We are Westerly.live, live at Sal or Jerry Field. Our focal point, Lady Bulldog Varsity Soccer. They're jumping around trying to stay warm. Correction, it's cold down there, folks, for certain. The wind is blowing, and they are out there. They've been out there for an entire half. Their foe tonight, visiting unbeaten in the division, Burrillville Broncos. They are already the division champions. They are essentially playing just to get out of here alive tonight with no further injuries. Bulldogs, on the other hand, will start with possession and have the completely opposite scenario. They have every reason to play. They have one more game following this one. That'll be tomorrow night. And yes, we will be there. We will bring it to you live. Starting time at 6 p.m. Bulldogs will win both of them, and they'll have a third game in a row at home. And that'll be the first round of the state playoffs. So they have all of that on the table for him as Burrillville tries to get over the top to start the half. Bulldogs are there on defense. That's Hake chasing it down in the far corner and riding the Burrillville Bronco out of bounds, and the Bulldogs will throw it in from the far corner. So the Bulldogs running the gamut from a home game and a 2 seed in the state playoffs to possibly not even going to the state playoffs. So they're down to 3 halves of play left. So there is every reason to play, and I'm sure the coaches made them fully aware of that. They are up on top of them on defense. They played up in their face in the entire first half. You don't keep Burrillville to 0 goals if you're not playing well. So just offensively, they were going to have to come up with another scheme. We are on the Bulldogs' end here. So this is going to be the first threat of the day, of the half, I should say, for the Broncos. The throw-in, throws deep, and there's a lot of Bulldogs in the way. They get their foot on it, and a swing and a miss by the Bronco. But they are able to turn and pop one up off of the Bulldogs' head, and out of bounds it goes. And that's going to go to Burrillville, I believe. Yes, it is. So the Broncos will have a corner kick here, folks. Broncos threatening first here in the second half. We are Westerly Live, and we got live action to start the second half here. 0-0 score. First chance. Burrillville's corner kicks have been accurate. It's up. It's near the goal. It's accurate. Nelson gets her hands on it, pops it up to herself. Great job of goaltending right there by Nelson. Tips it to herself, and that was a great corner kick. Left time on it, left good speed to let her team get up under it and deflect it. They were unable to get there. Nelson averts the threat, and the score maintains 0-0. And Burrillville's defense turns it. Up steps Zabrini. A correction, that was Fulbert. That's Zabrini in the middle of the field. A place that they found a home in the first half. They were able to, they're threatening here. And a shot on goal, and fortunate for the Bulldogs, it was right at Nelson. That was the clearest shot on goal we've had all night, folks, for either team. She had space. She could have kept going with it a little bit or stopped and possibly made a better go at it. Fortunately for the Bulldogs, didn't even get a lot of foot behind it. But she was certainly all alone, and the Bulldogs are going to have to make an adjustment and make sure that doesn't happen again, because this Burrillville offense, these scorers on a warmer night, put a better effort forth towards scoring. Huge threat averted. Fulbert near side. Puts it up. Cisco fighting for it. Unable to get there, and that's going to be Keegan with it. And the Broncos turning it around the other way. Putting it up ahead. Number 12 for the Broncos. So far has threatened this half. Attempting an on-field corner kick deflection right to her. And she tries to get into the lower left of the goal. Nelson was there waiting. And she gets to the left side of the post. But great job of getting past 2 Bulldog defenders. She could have probably spent a little more time centering herself, giving herself more angle. opening that pie up a little bit with her shot attempt. And the inbounds off of the foot of Salino. And that's Keegan with it. She chips it up, trying to get it to Cisco. It is intercepted. So the Broncos, the team that's made the adjustment. Around the corner it goes, and out of bounds by the Broncos. But they have threatened the most by far out in the second half here, folks. They have made contact with Nelson 3 or 4 times. They must have been to Dunn's Corners next to Duncan, wireless zone at Dunn's Corners. Your authorized Verizon dealer, up to $440 off your new phone with trade-in of old phone. They also have a repair zone, crash screen, new battery. They have you covered. Again, located next to Duncan at Dunn's Corners. Wireless zone at Dunn's Corners. And the Bulldogs looking for some kind of real estate because the Broncos have found theirs. They've contacted Mark Wright, your realtor, Coldwell Banker, Coastal Homes. Your satisfaction, Mark's first concern. Consider Mark for all of your housing needs, buying, selling, market analysis, whatever it may be. Bulldogs looking for real estate. Midfield, fighting for anything they could get near the goal of the Broncos here in the half because they have not threatened offensively. They actually were more of a threat in the first half, and Cisco steps up but unable to keep it. The Broncos with possession turn around. Open man, nice pass. Crisp passing, and they try to get it up ahead. A little too much. Bulldogs defense is there. And trying to turn the corner with it. And that's Hake doing her job. Cisco stops, turns. A Bronco waiting. Trying to position herself. A good job with it. Cisco there. Good ball handling skills. And it goes out versus the Broncos. Both ways. I'm not complaining and saying it's unfair for the Bulldogs. The Broncos have gotten the same calls. Every slide tackle has been a whistle. Every bump. Every push. Not normally the case. Threatening again. Up. Not hooking as she had hoped. Kind of stayed up straight. And out of bounds to go. She was hoping for a little bit of a left hook. If you're familiar with golf at all. And ball coming back towards the group. It did not. It flew its way out of here. And back into the abyss it goes. And inbounds by the goalie. Bulldogs slide tackle. They let that one go, but there was no contact. Bulldogs trying to play defense. And the push to the ground and the whistle for that one. I can see why they didn't need the push. She was going down anyway, out of the play, and the push is evident. And that's a problem. That's going to set up another scoring opportunity for this Burrillville offense. If nothing less, they have pressured the heck out of this Bulldog defense, who has stepped up. But, eventually you're bound to give. And this is what you're watching an undefeated team fight through a game that means nothing, and they're still playing this well. I'm sure there's things that they're trying to get better every week, every game. And the crossing pass, looked just too much on it. A little bit too much. That was the idea. There were 3 Burrillville Broncos coming across. Ball sailed on them. Remy's Cycles and Teddy's Toys, sporting goods you can find, all sorts of toys. Bicycle sales and service, 53 Railroad Avenue, downtown Westerly. Cycling accessories. As Nelson scoops that one up for the Bulldogs, averting again disaster, but not really challenged on the net. And contact and a whistle, and it's against the Bulldogs. Nelson hasn't been challenged on the net. The most wide open deflected by a Bulldog, dangerous, and out of bounds it goes. That's going to go in favor of the Broncos. I can't really go off topic much or scenario or anything because the Broncos are threatening so fast here. But I was talking about Remy's Cycles and Teddy's Toys in downtown Westerly. Teddy's Toys, modern toys, classic toys, board games, model building, stuffed animals, and sporting goods. And fighting in front of the goal are the Broncos. Good defense by the Bulldogs. Kind of fell in the mosh by everybody. Not much of a threat by the Broncos there. No need by Nelson to step in for the Bulldogs. So we have no score. We're 10 minutes away, 10 minutes gone in the second half, 30 to go here. Salvador Field, game one of a doubleheader versus incoming Narragansett tomorrow night right here, and we will be here with it. Both games, massive meaning for these Lady Bulldogs. Out of the half, the Bulldogs broke with energy, but Burrillville definitely more offense than they had in the first half, and they had more offense than the Bulldogs in the first half. So, on offense, the entirety of this one, the Broncos have been threatening. And again, here we go, the pop-up, the Broncos catching up offensively in Bulldog terrain, turning with it. A nice job with the ball handling skills by the offense. And that pass, Bulldogs step in, but there's a Bronco for it. And up on to Nelson it goes. She scoops it up, and the Bulldogs will flip it. So Nelson's been needed here in the second half. First half wasn't threatened much. And Bulldogs offense trying to get the ball down the field a little bit. Nothing happening for them. There's 4 defenders before there's 1-0. Salino turning on it. And on the far side, Rafferty trying to keep it inbounds does. And it goes out of bounds, stays inbounds, correction. And they are there, and that's Hake. And that's going to go out of bounds off the Broncos. So the Bulldogs will inbound. Going to our right. We are Westerly.live. Folks, find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or Westerly.live on your web browser. Playoff time, folks. Playoff time for all sports. Although we have no score here, it's not that there's no electricity. It's just a defensive game here, which is it's a art form of its own. The Bulldogs trying to get over the top of the first time in the second half. But as far as other teams go in action, there is live volleyball here in the fall, as well as football that are both playing for their playoff lives. The Bulldogs already set into the playoffs. They will have a playoff game. It's just a matter of where is it, much like the ladies Bulldog soccer team right in front of us. The volleyball team is fighting for number 2 in the state. They are tied with number 1, Central Falls. However, they dropped both games to Central Falls, so they will not take that 1 spot from them. However, they can very well take that 2 spot. They have won 6 matches in a row, and to win a match, you need to win 3 games. So they've won 18 games. Out of that 18-game streak, folks, they have only dropped 1. They have won 18 out of 19 games. Now, that is a massive streak. Things are going well for the Lady Bulldogs, who stand in, I have the schedule in front of me right now, at number 2 with a 12-2 record in the league, 13-3 overall. They have ahead of them 13-2 Central Falls. Central Falls regular season over. Bulldogs have 1 more to go. Like I said, they can finish with a 2 seed and a home playoff game. If they win that game, and the other game goes their way, you never know, they could have 2. You can only guarantee 1. Bulldogs threatening. Turning on it is Zimmerini, and hooks a little too much. Don't get a shot on goal, but wake up the crowd a little bit, if nothing less. So that takes care of volleyball. Volleyball very well could play here at Federico Gymnasium on the 5th or the 6th, and down goes the Lady Bulldogs. Not happy as she is thrown to the ground. Whistle goes in the Bulldogs' favor, getting a little chippy out here. Varsity football is not going to be played at home. It will be played, there's a few chances as to where it goes. They are hosting, we will be here, right here, at Salvador Field. They're hosting West Warwick, who's in last place in the division. Bulldogs turn on it, get it over the top. It lands in a dangerous spot. The goalie's out, and is able to pull it away from danger. Bulldogs threaten the biggest threat of the day right there. If they could have kept it away from the goalie, and I think maybe they could have. The goalie hesitated right there, as you can see on the replay, and scooped it right before a Bulldog could get there. And we're back at midfield, but the Bulldogs starting to turn it up a bit as we're talking about the playoffs, maybe they can hear, I don't know, playoff implications right in front of us. We'll go to football playoffs. They're going to be on the road. Their opponent, we don't know. The way things look, they could very well repeat their last home game, just head in that direction. They played a great game at home, controlling all aspects of the game in a 28-0 victory last week right in front of us here at Salvo Jerry Field. And it could end up very well. They head to Barrington as a number 3 seed. Barrington would be a number 2 seed in the first round of the playoffs. So more than likely they're going to play their playoff life on the road. And up in front of the goal, right in front of Nelson Hart, kicked right at it. She's able to secure it. So the Bulldogs will put it back in play. So that takes care of volleyball and football. Football, we're more than likely not going to see them here. No, we're not going to see them. It's not more than likely. We are not going to see them at home. They are going to travel. Where? We're not 100% sure. It looks like Barrington. Anything can change, but they will be on the road. It's a 3 or a 4 seed situation. Right in front of us, Bulldogs offense starting to click in, and they get ahead on the near side. The pass attempted in the corner, out of bounds it goes. Bulldogs will throw in. And inbound they have it. Liberini turns on it. Fulbert with it now on the near side and trying to get it up ahead. It is deflected to the goalie harmlessly, but the Bulldogs playing much more of this half now on the Broncos side of the field, as Bruno has come in and had an impact for the Bulldogs. Broncos turn at midfield. And the defense able to turn, kick it out of bounds. So there really is only 4 fall sports, and 3 out of 4 Bulldog teams able to make the postseason, more than likely. And that 4th team has only 1 senior, folks. So that team is loaded for the future, being the men's soccer team. So everything's turning. It was a very positive fall coming back from COVID for the Westerly Bulldog Interscholastic League. And Nelson steps up and scoops it up. 3 out of 4 teams headed to the postseason, and the 4th with only 1 senior. That's just great output by your athletic system. Where they go, nobody knows. It's all on the field right now. Something has just sparked this Bulldogs, and it might be the entrance of Summer Bruno. I don't know, but since she's come in, they are playing more on this side of the field. She's playing physical, and the Broncos are going to take over and throw in, but they're going to throw in from the Bulldog side. Bruno, only a sophomore. And that goes off Fulbert. And physically, the Broncos step in and steal it. And off the official it goes, out of bounds that is. Fulbert throws in quickly. Off the head of Keegan. Nobody there but a Bronco defense. And they put it up over the top of the Bulldog defense. Salino trying to run it down before a Bronco turns off the Broncos, out of bounds. Bulldogs throw in. Fulbert, that'll be. And we're halfway through the second half, folks. 21:40 to go. 0-0 score. A tie doesn't hurt the Bulldogs terribly. A tie doesn't hurt the Bulldogs. A tie and a win tomorrow, the Bulldogs could still play at home. They just don't want to put an L up on the board. And an undefeated team like Burrillville can strike at a moment's notice. This Bulldog team very well can do the same. They're younger. We're throwing in from the far side. And Zibberini takes initial possession. Burrillville steps in. Bulldogs with it again, and now Burrillville up over the top, and they have a run down the far corner. Good defense on that side, played by Hake, and they get a shot up off it. Good job by Nelson of batting it up and securing it herself again, as you see on the replay. Nice shot by Burrillville. Right there, could have been a 1-0 game. Great D by Nelson, and we have a threat here set up for him. As the corner kick for Burrillville, they do a nice job of putting it where they need to. And if it's off, it's not by a lot. So we're set. It's up a little bit deep and off the head of the Broncos. And that's a goal. They drop it right where they need to. I thought it was deep. It just dropped off of the head of number 5 for Burrillville. And that is going to be Madeline Keegan, a sophomore midfield woman for the Broncos. And now suddenly Westerly is down 1-0. A great play by the Broncos. Beautiful corner kick dropped off the head of number 5 for the Broncos. As I said, Madeline Keegan, only a sophomore. So the Broncos strike pay dirt first. And now the Bulldogs playing with a little bit more urgency. Crowd's been quieted. The crowd starts to support it again. That's Bruno on the near side, trying to make a run at it. Runs into the defense of the Broncos. So if the Bulldogs do happen to lose here, folks, I couldn't even begin to tell you the circumstances, because what happens all around the state matters. But we will talk again within 24 hours. Bulldogs as well. We're still at 20 minutes. Can strike at a moment's notice. We've watched them score 2 goals in a minute and a half at one point this season. Keegan with a throw in deep to Zerberini. Nice job with her body. Out of bounds it goes, probably off of Zerb's foot. No, it's off of a Bronco, so she didn't make contact. She does great with body position. Big throw in here. Can the Bulldogs even things up quickly? Keegan throwing in. Gia Keegan for the Bulldogs. Very, very dependable player. Will return next season. Junior. Throw in. Broncos in the area. And goalie scoops it up before a Bulldog can threaten or even put a foot on it. And the Bulldogs defense being challenged here by numbers by the Broncos. Great passing. In steps Hake to put a halt to it. Great. Bulldogs are fortunate they did. There's a whistle. It's going to go against the Broncos. But Hake there right when you needed it. And we have Dine Out in downtown 2021 from the Westerly Business Association. And defense, so, able to turn around on it and puts it out of bounds. The Broncos throw in near midfield. Up over the middle, Broncos have numbers if they can turn around with it. Excuse me, the Bulldogs. But now the Broncos with 5 ahead. So here at South Jerry Field, folks, Varsity, Lady Bulldogs, soccer, playoff implications all over the place. We're in playoff time of the year. You can feel it in the weather outside. 4 fall sports, folks. 3 sitting to make the playoffs. We have a football team in action in 2 days right here. Tomorrow night, this Lady Bulldog team in action. We will know at the end of tomorrow night's game what their playoff situation is. They will more than likely head there. I say more than likely. If everything goes their way, they control their playoff lives. They just need a tie. 1 game out of tonight or tomorrow. The Bronco offense threatening. And the Bulldogs able to turn it around. Bulldog volleyball, I can't. They've played past 18 games, 6 matches. They have won 18 out of 19 games. That's unheard of. Winning all 6 matches clearly. 5 of them 3-0 fashion and 1 3-1. They sit in number 2 in the state, tied record-wise with Central Falls, having lost head-to-head, however, one of the games blowing a 2-0 lead. So the Bulldogs would love a crack at them in the state championship. Bulldogs stand a great shot at 2 home games. They will have 1. Federico Gymnasium will be lit up with 1 ladies volleyball playoff game, either the 5th or the 6th. If they win, they'll have another. They control their own fate as that. So we have some good chance at 2 home lady volleyball games. As far as soccer goes, everything's in the air. Football, no home games. And boys soccer had a great season, finishing up a great season. They're a young team, folks, so we're going to hear a lot more about them next year, even the year after that. They are flooded with, speaking of flood, Joe Flood Jr. is their biggest offensive weapon, but they are flooded with talent. One senior, Ryan Scnapieko, huge celebration, senior year celebration, their last game we covered. So they are going to come out with fury next year and are going to be a threat in the state. Right now, the Broncos threatening number 5 again, scoring the first goal off her head, trying the second with her foot just to the left. She went for it, to the left of the goal. The shot hooking the way she wanted. So obviously one of the bigger scoring threats to the sophomore, only a sophomore, confident in her foot, looking for insurance as the clock is down to 15. Seems to be moving a little quicker now. A little more life breathed into every moment you play, because you got to know on the field that this time of year it matters. It all matters big. And home field for even one game matters huge. There's a chance at a 2 seed even for this Bulldog team. That would mean 2 home games if things pan out. Chances, though, chances in sports can turn into anything. The Bulldogs, bottom line, really would like a tie out of this one now. Even if they could just escape with a tie, that would be big, because they don't want to put the pressure themselves tomorrow night that you need a tie. You need something other than a loss. You find yourself playing defensively, which is kind of how they have played. They played the first half. They played the first half very defensively, and it's come back to bite them as they're now down, and they can't play defensively. So with the ball, the Burrillville defense, and they turn and put it up the far sideline, and they get it up a good ways up the field before the Bulldogs get a chance to throw in. Bulldogs just unable to find the real estate needed. Mark Wright, realtor, never contacted. Mark Wright, Coldwell Banker, Coastal Homes. Your satisfaction is his first concern for all your housing needs. Buying or selling, market analysis, any real estate need. Mark Wright, your realtor, Coldwell Banker, Coastal Homes. Burrillville ball midfield. Bulldogs legitimately cannot find any real estate, any offensive real estate whatsoever. Have put minimal shots on goal. Nice steal with some space. Salino puts it up for the Bulldogs, puts it up ahead, and trying to run it down as Sacco, unable to, but they will throw in. And they're going to throw in here looking for any kind of connection. And they do keep possession. That's Intreri turns her body on it, and then it was Octo with it. Defender steps up and pops it up. Rafferty to the corner, and the defense turns with it. It does go out of bounds. And popping it up, hoping for something to happen, and it almost did. Connection unable to be made. Wireless zone at Dunn's corners. Could have repaired what appears to be cracked in the Bulldogs offense. They are located next to Duncan in Dunn's corners, up to 440 off your new phone with the trade-in of an old phone. All your new phones up to your iPhone 13. Located next to Duncan in Dunn's corners. That's your wireless zone at Dunn's corners. And the Bulldogs back in the middle of the field as the clock's down to 12, trailing 1-0 to unbeaten division champion Burrillville Broncos, coming in at 15-0 in the division. Impressive. It's 15-0. And impressive to get up and come here and play physical as you just saw on the field. And a whistle. See right there, I don't even know. That's not. I saw her elbow extend a little bit, but I've seen them play with a lot more than that. But we need it, so we'll take it for certain. Don't think I don't want that call. When I was on the field, whatever I was playing, I would take what I could get. Right or wrong, you take it. Because in the long term, you give away a few too. And the chip forward to Bruno, and she turns it. And she's going to try to get it to a teammate somewhere in the middle of the field. Uses her body to spin. Still fighting for it in the corner. Out of bounds it goes. Oh no, in bounds it is, and then out. And that's going to go off of Bruno. We have a whistle. Substitution. And the Burrillville Broncos will throw in here. Out of bounds, it goes off the Bulldogs. And now the Broncos will move down a little bit and throw in again. And possession kept by the Broncos. Set it back a little bit. And now up forward. Octo with first contact for the Bulldogs. Uses her body a little bit and they let her. Incidental contact. She just falls. Glad there was no whistle there. Octo changing the entire field. Then he gets taken down. And no whistle on that. Most certainly shouldn't have been a whistle on the one prior then. And down again goes Octo. Out of bounds. Bulldogs possession. Getting a little chippy on the field here. This is what you want to see out of the Bulldogs, and it's going to be thrown in by Bruno, the sophomore. Throws off the foot of Keegan. Nobody in front of the goal. Terry trying to make contact. And a good job of Hake trying to keep it up in the zone. And keeps it in play. Wow, look at where that ball stopped. You can't kick it any better than that. That was perfection by Hake. I've never seen someone stop a ball in the corner like that. And the Bulldogs set the Bulldogs up for a corner kick. By that placement, that was impressive, to say the least. Or at least a throw in at the corner. And possession. Out of bounds, it goes off of the Broncos' possession and kept by the Bulldogs. And the inbound, Bruno, head by Zabarini. Chipped out of bounds, a little up the field, same exact setup. And throw in by Bruno, looking for somebody. And looking for Sacco. That's going to go out of bounds, and that's going to stay with the Bulldogs. And Bruno's going to move down a little bit, so the Bulldogs finding their way inch by inch. And we're throwing in Bulldogs in hurry-up mode. They know what the pressure they're under. You can see it. And they're performing, and it gets to the goalie untouched. It's going all night. They're just a step behind on those crossing passes. Anything in front of the goal, the Bulldogs are like 2 or 3 steps behind. Could cost them a home game. And in the middle of the field, we have a whistle, and that's going to be a little bit too physical. Maybe the official giving us back a call, because, again, that wasn't that bad. Possession we will take. The captain, Nino Salino, is going to put it in play at midfield. And the pass on the ground, Keegan. Centering it. Chips up over the top. And Cherry trying to run it down in the corner. Goalie way out of the goal. Again, one step behind. If we could have kept it away from the goalie. Look on the replay here. You get by her one step, there's nobody in the goal. And that goalie's come out and gotten trapped a couple times. No shots. So the Bulldogs have had their opportunities. But they have been on the defensive more than the offensive. And that's in great part due to the style of play of this Bronco team, this unbeaten Bronco team. They came in tonight essentially with the goal of a victory, obviously, and no injuries. Unfortunately, the injury bug hit early, and the Broncos lost a player who we're all hoping bounces back and is able to move on for their next contest, of course. And going forward after that, simply getting out of here with no injuries, and they've been able to. And the Bulldogs, however, don't have that luxury. They have to put the ball in the net somewhere between today and tomorrow. Bruno centers it, and there's nobody there but Broncos. Change possession, and it goes off a forward out of bounds, but that changed possession drastically. And the clock seems to be going even faster for me here. I can feel the pressure mounting. I can wait till tomorrow night. I'm going to be out of my mind. And that, again, is a 6 o'clock start here, folks. As the crowd filled in here for the Bulldogs a little bit, I can imagine more is going to be there tomorrow, as it's a Thursday night and people make their way out more often to begin with. It won't be as windy or cold, and the things that are on the line will mount. So Broncos happy with possession. A big defense by Sacco. Gets the turnover on the near side. Outruns the defense, and that's going to go off of the Broncos. The Bulldogs will throw in now. So Bulldogs with opportunity. If the offense can just get a look at the goal and they throw it in, not directly out of bounds off of the Broncos, they'll throw in again. There was a whistle, so I don't think any of that counted. And the Bulldogs substitution out will go in Trary. And I'm not sure who that is. That might be Fobert that's coming in. No, that's Cisco that just came in. And that's a nice little bicycle kick by Zerberino. Cisco, again, a foot off, but able to deflect the defense. And the interception by Zerberini, and she puts it up in the far corner. And nice break she puts on it. And that's Rafferty in the far corner. Great job by Zerberini to turn around and put brakes on the pass, allowing Rafferty to get there. And out of bounds it goes off of the Bulldogs' threat averted. And possession to the Broncos. So we're seeing you 3 nights in a row. South Jerry Field will take a beating on the lawn. Tonight, tomorrow, the Lady Bulldogs again will face incoming Narragansett Mariners, who also playing with playoff implications. All sorts of playoff implications tomorrow, folks. I'm talking, there's going to be some pressure on these Lady Bulldogs because the Mariners are going to come in with playoff implications. Far more than Barrington has tonight. Down goes the Bulldogs, but the ball was hit by their hand. It's going to stay with the Bulldogs. So, like I said, a lot more implications tomorrow night. You're gonna feel it in the air, and I'll make sure you know about it. I've let you know about everybody else. Huge opportunity here for the Bulldogs. Senior captain, Jillian Octo. Goes for it. Up. Go just to the top. It goes off the crossbar of the uprights. Wouldn't have been good for a football field goal. Bounces down to the top of the goal. If I like her decision going for it herself, nobody really has been there around her. So she does, and just a few feet too high. And a little bit of a hit there while she was in the air, no call. So now they're letting them play. I don't think the Bulldogs have had much favorable officially. And Broncos now threatening. And look at the wheels that Bruno displays to get there first. Fighting for possession. It's out of bounds. It's off the Bulldogs, though, I do believe. And centers it, nobody crossing. So that'll be brought back in by Nelson, who you think will go quickly, and that's going to be Selena who puts it in play. She's going to plan it and get herself ready and put it back up as we are down to additional time very soon. Turning it is Zerberini. The Bulldogs just unable to get an offense set up. And I'm not going to say anything bad about the Bulldogs because, you know what, that's part of Barrington's ability is to disassemble and diffuse opponents' offenses, and they kind of did that. They neutralized Westerly's offense, our own offense, and that's something that if Westerly can win tomorrow or tie tomorrow in the playoffs, and mark me, they can lose both and have other things happen and make it, but you never want to back in that way. You don't want that. We don't want to have to worry about that. It's in their hands. Whether they win or lose tonight, it's in their hands, and you always want to take care of it yourself. So I have full confidence in them that they will. But for certain, entertainment-wise, we have a heck of a game tomorrow night, folks. It's going to be a lot of entertainment. Narragansett's coming to town. They're 6-3-2, and they're marked way back in the state because of those two ties. So a win against Westerly jumps them dramatically. So they are going to be ultra motivated. Maddie Fobert with what could be a last chance set up for the Bulldogs offense. It's in play. Back line of the defense there, but Zerberini turns it around, and the back line, they just have 5 players back there set up in a straight line. And up ahead of it, they're able to get, what a pass. What a pass that was in the back line, able to set up again. Zerberini puts it up and puts it on goal, and that's going to eat up a lot of time as we are in additional time here, folks. And the goalie in no rush lets her team set up and boots it high and away. Midfield, it comes down. And they turn and get it up ahead. And the Bulldogs able to run it down, unable to turn around. It's going to stay in possession of the Burrillville Broncos. So we are just moments, seconds away from hearing a series of whistles here that are going to put the Bulldogs season one game away from close here. And a game with so much up in the air. Middle of the field, we played 90% of the game off the head of number 5, Madeline Keegan, the sophomore midfielder, is the difference in this one. A corner kick off the head of number 5 for the Burrillville Broncos, giving them this 1-0 lead in what looks like is going to turn into a 1-0 victory. It does for the Burrillville Broncos. So the unbeaten Burrillville Broncos finish their regular season as a 16-0 Division III champion. 16-2 overall, but that doesn't mean anything. 16-0 overall. First of all, an impressive season, and a congratulations for a great regular season to the Broncos. That being said, we are not rooting against you here out. The Bulldogs, much to play for tomorrow, as they have Narragansett Mariners coming to town with a 6-3-2 record. If you print the state rankings right now, they're sitting at 6, which seems pretty far behind, as the Bulldogs are at 3, but they have a 6-3-2 record, folks. They're not far behind at all. A victory, it comes down to winning percentages, and that flip and flop everything. Other teams in the state with action that has consequences that contribute to the to Westerly's future as well. Bottom line, Westerly controls its own future. If they come here tomorrow and they win the game, they're in. I'll fill you in on all the details from there. We are Westerly.live, folks. We'll be back tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Ladies varsity soccer, Westerly versus Narragansett. Tune in.